Hello, everybody. My name is Roy Nemer. I'm your Wrestleview.com SmackDown recapper. This is the Wrestleview.com SmackDown Post Show number 4. Live, right? We are live. We're live on YouTube. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone enjoyed SmackDown. I see a couple people in the chat, so right away. I have Quentin, I have Andrew, I have Jamel, I have Mike in there as well. Hi everyone. Hope you guys are able to hear me. Hopefully there's no technical difficulties like last week. But it looks so far so good. So far so good. I think we're good. Mike says audio is good. Clinton says, so I forgot SmackDown was a thing. Don't forget it. It's not a thing. Ever since we started doing this Wrestleview SmackDown Post Show, it's not just it's a thing and more, right? It's a thing and more. So hello everyone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Roy Nemer. We will take a look at SmackDown tonight. We're gonna discuss it. What you guys thought, what I thought, what we could do to improve it as we get closer, not only to Fastlane but to WrestleMania as well. Quentin says hello, Rambling Roy Nemer. I'll take that. Whoops, there you go. Rambling Roy Nemer. Rambling already. Alright, so I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And let's get this show on the road. I thought it was a pretty good SmackDown right off the bat. I thought it was very good. And it takes a lot for SmackDown, not to be good, I think. I definitely think it takes a lot to bring it down. We got a lot of wrestling tonight, which you absolutely love to see, especially on a wrestling show, right? A 2-hour wrestling show, we got probably around 4 or 5 matches or so at the very least. We'll go through them all, don't worry about it. And for the most part, they were good. So without further ado, let's get going. Let's get the show on the road. So first off, we have had. All right, so we have this right here. So we started off with Roman Reigns, who's just been absolutely magic ever since he came back. I know it keeps, I sound like a broken record. But literally, I say it every week. Ever since he came back during the summer, he's just been solid. Putting him with Paul Heyman was the best thing to ever happen to his career. Forget the Shield, forget all that stuff. This is it. Best thing to ever happen to Roman Reigns. So he comes out, ultimate heel promo. He cuts a promo about how at the Elimination Chamber he defended his title. SmackDown needed him, Elimination Chamber needed him, and he answered the call. And that's what the head of the table and the tribal chief does, right? So he just cuts this amazing promo that we just have become accustomed to seeing and hearing from Roman Reigns. So you have the ultimate heel, the ultimate bad guy, and in comes the ultimate babyface, Daniel Bryan. And these two have so much chemistry together. I love it, absolutely love it. Great opening segment. Out comes Daniel Bryan, and because Roman at one point mentions that he was nearly perfect, and he was nearly perfect because of Edge, right? And then out comes Bryan, tells him, you were nearly perfect against a guy who started off as number 1 in the chamber, went through 5 other guys, right after, ended up facing you for the title match. And you'd think someone like the head of the table, the tribal chief, would want to go on last in the pay-per-view main event, and not the second match of the night. And he's kind of planting the seed towards Fastlane. And then we get Roman's right-hand man, Jay Uso, who, again, like Roman, just looks as good as he has ever looked. And I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to Jey Uso in a second, because there is something I want to elaborate on. So he just, out he comes and just nails Daniel Bryan, beats him up. And that's kind of cutscene. Moving forward. However, before we move forward, there is something I want to talk about. I'm just gonna take a look at the chat real quick before I get to my point. So, a couple people in the chat. So here we go. Jamal says, Roy the Wonder Boy. Make sure to like this video, lads. Yes, exactly. Make sure to like this video, give us a thumbs up, or else Mike will be singing on the Raw Post Show. Every Monday, by the way, with him and his lovely wife Victoria. So if you guys don't give this video a thumbs up, if you guys don't subscribe, Mike will get you, kind of like a Freddy Krueger in your dreams, except on the Wrestleview Live post show on Raw. So Andrew says, Roman makes a good heel, he makes an excellent heel. Absolutely love him. Absolutely love Roman Reigns as a heel. Quinton, yes, Jamal Ross Roy will strip tease on stream. I'm not sure anyone wants to see that. Not sure anyone wants to see that, Quentin. But look, well, I'm gonna leave that one aside for a little bit. Again, just continuing with the chat. So Jamal says, Bryan is about as good a babyface as you can get, and Tribal Chief Roman is a really good heel. This could have been a really good Mania main event, but Fastlane should be fun. It should be fun if we get it. I kind of feel like we might get a tag team match because they kind of alluded to it in terms of we might get Edge and Daniel Bryan up against Roman Reigns and Jay Uso at Fastlane, and then ultimately have Daniel Bryan and Jay Uso at WrestleMania. And talking about Jay Uso, and I know I'm jumping the gun, and we're gonna talk about WrestleMania a lot more as we go along and everything, but where is Jimmy right now? Where is Jimmy Uso? Because the way I see it, unless he's out of a contract, and I could be wrong, but I don't think he is. Do we get Jimmy Uso coming back at WrestleMania and we form the whole stable, the Uso family stable, head of the table type of thing, I just want to throw that out there, let that simmer. We're going to get back to it, but I do want to mention it because right now Main Event Jay is doing great alone, and if they're planning on bringing Jimmy back, it might not be a bad idea to bring him back at WrestleMania depending on what they do there. So going back to the chat, Mike says, I'll be singing Benny and the Jets. Falsetto. I'd pay to see that. I would pay good money to see Mike Tedesco perform live on Wrestleview. On the Wrestleview Post Show. I would pay very good money for that. And Jamal says, Mr. Tedesco is in the chat. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. The face of Raw. Or 50%, right? Along with Victoria. Andrew says, Bryan didn't make a good heel, to be honest. Yeah, it was difficult. He wasn't the best heel. Definitely gave it his all, gave it his best, but he's much more suited as a babyface. Jamal says, SmackDown post-Mania should be really interesting as far as contenders for the Universal Championship. I fully agree. Fully agree. And we're going to talk about WrestleMania later on. I don't want to spend too much time on WrestleMania right now. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be definitely interesting. And Clinton says Bloodline at Fastlane. That could be very fun and not a bad idea, especially if they bring back Christian, which they kind of hinted towards a little bit. So who knows? Jamal says, saw somewhere that Jimmy Uso was training at the Performance Center to get ready for an in-ring return. And Bryan says Jimmy versus Jay at Mania. Okay, I could see that. I could potentially see Jimmy and Jay going against each other at WrestleMania if Jimmy comes back and they do a whole angle about it, about how he betrayed the family or something. Who knows? But for now, my money is definitely on Daniel Bryan and Jay Uso at WrestleMania. And Jamal says, last thing before we get back to the results, Jamal says, I've enjoyed seeing Main Event Jay. He could sneak in an Intercontinental title or US title reign this year. That'd be interesting. That could be interesting. Depending on what they do with Big E and Apollo Crews, and we're going to get to Apollo Crews in a second, but depending on what they do with them, you could definitely have, Main Event Jay kind of solidify himself with some sort of singles run, right? Would be very fun to watch. So after that promo, we get Adam Pearce and Sonya backstage, and they're discussing with, In Comes Edge, and they kind of discuss the potential, tag team match that should be or could be, but ultimately it's announced we're getting Jay Uso against Daniel Bryan, in the main event tonight. And should Daniel Bryan get the win, he's facing Roman Reigns at Fastlane for the Universal title. So cutting back really quickly here, just to my tweets, getting to it, I wrote, a great start to SmackDown involving Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. Roman is the ultimate heel, while Bryan is the biggest babyface, and great chemistry between these two guys. I stand by it. At 2 hours after that, I still think it was a good promo. I still think we have the best heel in the company along with the best babyface in the company. Going into Mania or Fastlane, whatever they do, it's going to be extremely fun and very enjoyable. And yet another reason to continue watching SmackDown, and give us a follow here on YouTube. After that, we got Jey Uso, who's apologizing to Roman. I'm sorry, you crossed the line. Roman says, you didn't cross the line, nothing to apologize about, as long as you get the job done. Right, so that's the first thing that he has to do, or else he's going to apologize. And we've seen the apologies before, and we've seen Roman attack Jey Uso in the past as well. Continuing on, we get Dominic and Rey Mysterio against Gable and Otis. Oof. Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio against Otis and Gable. So I'm going to go to the chat really quickly before I get to that one in a second. Andrew says 6-man tag at Fastlane. Maybe with Christian coming back, we could see that, right? The bloodline. Jimmy is out to 6 to 9 months with a knee injury. Jerome. That makes a bit more sense. That's probably why he's been out. Jamal says, also, could we deport Sasha Banks to NXT India? Kind of tired of her as a character. I'm going to get to Sasha. And you're going to see the ultimate rambling Roy when I get to Sasha in a couple of moments. Because I can't deal with her anymore. But that's for a whole... That's going to be in a couple of minutes. In the meantime, I'm just having a little sip, right? This is coffee, by the way. There's no alcohol in this. I won't lie, it's coffee. Anyways, we'll continue. So let's go. Dominic and Ray versus Gable and Otis. Otis and Gable, get the win. Otis once more with a big splash on Rey Mysterio to end the match. Last week was a disqualification. This week was not a disqualification. It was just a solid win. And they have established Gable and Otis as the heels, right? Michael Cole and Corey Graves kind of alluded to it and made it pretty clear on commentary that they are the heels. And look, we've spoken about this in the past, spoke about this last week and the week before. If there was no point of them to break up Heavy Machinery, no point for them to get rid of, Tucker and Otis, only to put, Otis with Chad Gable. It is what it is, right? They've done it. At least they're doing something with it. After about 2 months of jobbing, they finally got Otis and Gable to win a match. Hopefully this leads to something, and hopefully this is the end of them feuding with Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio for several reasons. Just because, look, I feel like they have to do something with Dominic, right? I don't know what you guys think. What do you guys think they should do with Dominic? Let me know in the chat. We'll go through it. But they definitely have to change things up with Dominic Mysterio. As for Otis and Gable, the tag team division on SmackDown needs a little push. Tag belts are horrible right now with Rude and Ziggler. They got to get the titles off those guys. Unfortunately, they probably won't get them off them until WrestleMania, until probably Street Profits. Get the tag titles off them. And then who knows, if you have the Street Profits going up against Otis and Gable, could be interesting. Could be interesting post WrestleMania. Who knows what they do. I'm going to cut to the chat really, really quickly. Jamal says, hell yeah, the first Roy rant. You have no idea what you're in for, buddy. Brian says, yeah, it's not Raw, so no alcoholic beverages needed. Exactly, and this is, I'm not sure if it's a PG-13 show, but we're not at the level of needing alcohol, at least not yet, right? At least not yet. Andrew says, also Otis and Gable need new heel music, or sure Otis needs, yes, so they definitely need some heel music there. Otis needs to get rid of, whatever theme music they have going on for him. Mike, ranting is my gimmick. I'm gonna steal your thunder just a little bit, Mike. You have a lot of thunder, enough for to go around a little bit. So apologies in advance, Mike. I'm just gonna steal it at least for tonight. I'm stealing it at least for tonight. And Jamel says 0 point breaking up Heavy Machinery. Totally agree, buddy. Totally agree. Completely pointless. Completely pointless. But what are you gonna do? Mashoon, hello Mashoon, how are you? Hope you're well, buddy. Hope you enjoyed SmackDown. Hope you're enjoying this. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, or else you're gonna get Mike singing on Monday. Jamel says, yep, Dominic needs to be separated from Ray and move down to NXT. Let him get that seasoning away from the bigger spotlight so he can really develop. Let Ray do some other shit on Raw or SmackDown. Couldn't agree more. Dominic, we had him on Raw, didn't work out too well. We have him on SmackDown, not doing much better. Him on NXT could be very interesting, could be cool to watch, helps him develop. A different audience as well, different kind of show, different kind of production. Could be what he needs, what the doctor ordered. So we'll see. And Quentin says the alcohol thing is Lackey's gimmick. It is Doug Lackey's gimmick. I'm not stealing it. I don't want a lawsuit. Andrew says Dominic needs to get out of Dad's shadow. NXT would be good for him. Totally agree, guys. All right, let's keep it going. So that was Dominic against Ray. My thoughts on that were, so they've turned Otis heel as he and Gable finally get a win. If they build them up as a solid tag team, they could make for a decent addition in the tag team division. And they have to change things up for Dominic because his character is sinking and fast. So that was a tweet I put up. looks like everyone in the chat agrees. So I'm very, very happy about that. You know, I'm not the only one, and even through my interactions tonight on Twitter, you know, the general consensus, the general feeling was they got to change things up for Dominic, and fast. Next up, we get the royal Nigerian prince, who I guess it has to be Apollo Crews, right? Who was sending out all those emails to everyone back in the 90s and early 2000s about how he has $1 million that he won or hidden in his cave that he has to smuggle over the border or smuggle over to the United States or North America or Europe or wherever. It's got to be Apollo Crews, because apparently he's a Nigerian prince descendant or king descendant. I don't even know what they're doing with this guy anymore. But look, I'll give him this much. They're trying to change things up once more for Apollo Crews. You can't complain too much, or I'm gonna try not to complain too much, just because it feels like they're finally giving him some sort of gimmick, I suppose, you know, to kind of go with. He alluded to it last week. He mentioned it last week about how, you know, he comes from a Nigerian family and this and that, and what would his Nigerian family think. But, you know, didn't he have, was it, and I know this is not alcohol, it's just coffee, so this is not affecting my memory, but didn't they have a storyline on Raw about a year or two ago, or maybe 3, where Apollo Crews had sisters, and we saw his sisters, including his mother, and like, or are we just supposed to have extremely short-term memory loss? Which apparently I have, so don't get me wrong, it's kind of working for them. But come on, like Apollo Crews as from Nigeria, and look, I'll accept that. What I can't accept is for them to have Apollo Crews speak in an accent again, because he tried it earlier tonight and it failed miserably, badly. Go out of your way, torture yourself, listen to that part of the promo where Apollo Crews speaks in, I don't want to say African accent, I don't want to say Nigerian accent, right? Africa's a continent, it's not a country, so you have different accents in different countries and everything. So I don't even know what kind of accent that was. I'm going to assume it was an attempt at a Nigerian accent, and I'm just going to leave it there. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to leave it there. But definitely go out of your way, torture yourself, and please watch it. So that was the promo. As for the match itself, look, it was a good match. It wasn't a bad match. Him and Nakamura have some chemistry together for the second week in a row. So, you know, I didn't have much of a problem with the match. Apollo Crews got the win, right, with what looked like a modified angle slam. Looks like he spun Nakamura around 2 or 3 times before finally slamming him. They didn't give it a name. Michael Cole or Corey Graves didn't say, oh, an angle slam, or obviously the Olympic slam, that name is banned. But they didn't mention that, so it'll be interesting to see what they give that name. So we've gotten a somewhat repackaged Apollo Crews. Could be decent, right? Let's see what they do with him. If they get him on a run where he goes on and he wins 3, 4, 5 matches leading up to WrestleMania, maybe I'll take him seriously. For now, this is his first win in months, kind of. You know, he lost last week by disqualification, lost to Big E a couple of times. So if this is a shift in his character and they actually get him to win a couple of matches, I might actually care and possibly be invested in the character. Who knows? Who knows what they do with that? And the other thing is they did not have Big E on tonight, which, and I'm a Big E fan. I'm a massive Big E fan. I love the guy. But, you know, for the injury development or storyline sake, I'm very glad they kept Big E off television tonight. Let that play out a little bit. Keep him away for a week or two. Have Apollo Crews get those wins and you know, push him a little bit. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of Bobby? I was going to say Bobby Lashley. Of Apollo Crews. I'm going to get in the chat really quick. Let's take a look. So, here we go. Bryan says, maybe Apollo can help me get a PS5. All right. Are they selling them? I was looking online a couple of days ago. I couldn't find one. Andrew says, heel run might be good for Apollo. I agree. And Mashoon says, I love the gimmick with Apollo. Oh, man, Mashoon, you're the first one. Like, I was on Twitter, read some comments, people interacting. You're the first one who says you actually enjoy the gimmick, but buddy, if you like the gimmick, good for you. I'm being honest, and I truly mean that. You know, just because I don't like it doesn't mean no one else is entitled to like it either. So very happy. At least you like it. Let's see. It's still very early stages. Maybe with some fine tuning, I might come around to it. Who knows? For the moment, I'm a little bit skeptical. Skeptical. Jamal says, I don't know how to feel about Apollo doing this Nigerian prince thing. Like, he needs something to sink his teeth into, but this could turn to something old wrestling racist quickly. That's my fear. And that's my fear about this, especially considering we're talking about Vinny. About Vincent Kennedy McMahon. And we all know how he loves his little bit of racism. Yeah. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a pretty infamous skit or promo. Pretty sure it's with John Cena from, I was going to say a couple years back. It's probably around 10 years ago now. Where Vince said something he never, ever should have said. Let's leave it at that. Bryan, that was Bobby Lashley, I thought. It could have been Bobby Lashley. Honestly, I confused the two, Bryan. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was Bobby Lashley with the sisters and it wasn't Apollo. So I do apologize. I definitely apologize. They're both bland. Credit to Bobby Lashley, though. They've been doing something good with him with the Hurt Business lately. But excuse me for confusing the two because they've both been extreme disasters lately. Mike says, Andrew, amazing that they beat that storyline to death for nearly half a year and now just fizzled away with Murphy and Aaliyah. That's fun. Mike says, Lashley sisters, fuck my life. Sorry, Mike, you had to sit through that. And he says, Andrew Roy has all the luck. I suffered with that crap for months. Yeah, I would tune in every now and then to Raw, and it felt like an eternity for me. So I'm surprised Mike is not like a raging alcoholic following that, or did not become a raging alcoholic covering that feud. Quentin says, sorry, Mike, I agree. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. Mashun says, SmackDown's a better show. It is. SmackDown is the better show. But, you know, Mike's been getting lucky past couple of weeks. It's been decent Raw, and hopefully it stays that way. Not only for his sake, but for our sake, right? It's WrestleMania season. We want to get excited and invested in the shows. Andrew says, I think the Nigerian thing might be too much. Maybe drop the accent. Yeah, look, I don't really have much of a problem with them continuing the gimmick or the character as long as they don't try and pull off the accent thing, because it didn't work too well. It did not work too well. So yeah, that was that. And let's go back to this. What did I tweet out about this? I said, maybe Apollo Crews is frustrated because he's the Nigerian prince who kept emailing us in the 90s and early 2000s about the millions he had in his basement. Exactly as I mentioned earlier. Seriously, Crews needed a character change, and not sure this is it. But at the same time, I guess it's still better than having no character, right? So the fact that they've given him this character, even though we can't really see it here. So just imagine Apollo Crews with a white and green scarf, or a white scarf with green stripes. That's what you got with the new look with the tights. So, you know, this has to be better than what we've been getting from Apollo Crews the past couple of weeks, months, or sadly even years. Talking about something that needs improving. Tamina, accompanied by Natalya, got the win against Liv Morgan, accompanied by Ruby Riott. So, if I'm not mistaken, that's 2 wins in a row now for Tamina and or Natalya, right? Last week and this week. And this has to be the 20th loss in a row for Liv Morgan and or Ruby Riott. Just a disaster. I don't know what they're doing with this. This is our 4th SmackDown show. Here's to many more. This is our 4th SmackDown show, and for the 4th week now, we've just been saying, when are they ever going to win a match? Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott have to win a match. And for the first time, they actually lost the match, not because of Billie Kay. So Billie Kay did not show up on the show tonight, did not make it on the show. And we just got Tamina just crushing Liv Morgan. I don't understand what the point of this match was. If you want to push Tamina, push her, but I'm sure you could find someone other than Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott to get the win over. Not the best booking in that case. Does anyone care? Like, should we even spend time talking about this feud or match? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I'm going to take a look at the chat and what we have here. So, Jamel says alcoholic is Doug Lackey's gimmick. It is. Mike, Tamina is like the female Mojo Rawley. Time for her random 3-week push before going back to irrelevancy. Oof. Ouch. That one stings. Kind of true, though. Definitely true. But let's see, Michael. Who knows? If they possibly have her and Natalya as a tag team leading in to the WrestleMania kickoff show. Get them to face Nia Jax and Jesus Christ, it's Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Wow, for the I was gonna say for the Raw, for the women's tag team titles, could be interesting on the pre-show, right? I got dibs. I'm not covering that, Mike. I'm saying it on the air. I know there's like a couple of seconds delay probably, so I'm beating you to this. Mike, I'm not covering Tamina and Natalya against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler on the WrestleMania kickoff show. I'm sorry. I love you, buddy. You know I do. I'm not covering that. So, I call dibs. I'm not. So, going back to the chat, Andrew says apparently Natty has made Tamina vicious according to Cole. Yeah, I heard that commentary from Michael Cole tonight. Kind of, Natalya's getting that edginess from Tamina. I'm zoning out on that. Jamel says, you're in a bad position when you are taking L's to Tamina. Yeah, when you're taking losses to Tamina, that's a problem. That's a big problem. Andrew says maybe Billy's being repackaged. Could be another tag team that was just pointlessly broken up. The Iconics. No reason for them to break up Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, yet they did. And now Billy Kay has just been doing nothing ever since. Bryan says, nope, move on to destroy Sasha. I'm getting to Sasha coming up next. Jamal says, I can't really think of any other women on SmackDown that they could job out to Tamina. Maybe you're right. Maybe there's no one else on SmackDown. Maybe there is no one else, Jamal. But in that case, don't even have the match. I don't know. Something, anything. Have her beat up a mop backstage. I don't know. This is pointless. Mushun, Wyatt Squad is total jobbers now. I think they always were total jobbers, to be honest. Andrew, it's a pre-show bathroom break. Yes, it is. Mike, I'll take the punishment. Thank you, buddy. I owe you one. And Jamel says, I'll do it, but I'll be out of town for Mania Night 1. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. To have, 2-night WrestleMania. I know we had it last year, but different circumstances. This year it's actually in a stadium with crowd and proper lighting, so it's gonna have a different feel to it. It's gonna be very, very interesting, but I'm not gonna get into that just yet, or at least not tonight, right? We have a couple more shows to go for that. Jamel says, why did they break up the Iconics? If we break up a team, have a damn plan to do something with them. But now onto the never to the ever tiring Sasha Banks rant. So Adam Pearce, Sonya Deville in the ring. Introduce Bianca Belair, 2021 Women's Royal Rumble winner. Out she comes. And, she's cutting a pretty good promo, right? She's good on the mic. We've established that. Everyone knows that. I'm a big Bianca Belair fan. Or, I won't say big, but I definitely enjoy her stuff, right? I didn't watch her too much in NXT, but from what I've seen, the Rumble last year, Rumble this year, they have her on Raw, on SmackDown here and there. So I'm definitely a Bianca Belair fan. I'm throwing that out there. And then you have Reginald come out. And Reginald's supposed to be siding with Carmella. So Carmella, aside from a very brief appearance last week, has kind of been LOA for a while. Give her a push, disappears, so you have Reginald. Reginald comes out and kind of defends Sasha Banks. Why, I don't know. I was a Reginald fan, and I'll continue to be a Reginald fan as long as he takes up Sasha Banks' airtime. The less Sasha Banks is on my television screen, the better. The more Sasha Banks is on my television screen, the more chances this becomes filled with alcohol. I cannot stand Sasha Banks. I just can't. For the life of me. For the absolute life of me, I can't. The boss gimmick is extremely worn out. To the point where it's just annoying. It's annoying, and it's not like a haha, she's doing her job, good annoying. No, she's supposed to be this blueprint, standard of what? Of the women's division? You have someone called Bianca Belair who just came from NXT, who's better than you on the mic, better than you in the ring, safer than you in the ring, just a better character overall. I said it last week, or I said it a couple weeks back. I'm pretty sure I tweeted it out again tonight. I said Bianca Belair is what Sasha Banks thinks Sasha Banks is. Period. That's it. It blows my mind how they have Sasha Banks as the women's champion on SmackDown right now. It just blows my mind. She's been in the scene, in this main event scene for so long now. And I have no problems with that. No problems whatsoever with anyone being in the main event scene for a year, 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years. I have no problems with that whatsoever. As long as it's done properly and as long as the person, the wrestler, the superstar, whatever, the character fits the bill. Sasha Banks is annoying. She just doesn't go away and doesn't go away in a bad way. Not in a good way. In a really, really bad way. Brian says, newsflash, Sasha, you're not that good. I agree. She's just not. How many suicide dives can you literally do in a match? How many shitty frog splashes could you do in a match? You have Dominic Mysterio who does a better frog splash. You have Rey Mysterio who does a better frog splash. You have Montez Ford who does a better frog splash. I could probably do a better frog splash. Yet she wants to channel her inner Eddie Guerrero. Oh my God, I loved him so much. No one cares. No one cares. That ship has sailed a long time ago. A long time ago. Quentin says, Sasha Banks looks great with my eyes closed. Yeah. Definitely. I couldn't have said it better. It's bad. I can't do it. I can't do it. This is, if I ever give SmackDown a thumbs down, it's because of Sasha. I'm telling you guys. If I ever give SmackDown a thumbs down, it's because of Sasha Banks. And the silver lining in all of this, the light at the end of the tunnel, is that for me, not just for me, but WrestleMania is in what, a month and a half? I hope, I truly do, Bianca gets the win and Sasha goes on her little hiatus where she goes on another vacation to Mexico or wherever the hell she went, Dominican Republic, doesn't matter. Stays there. I hope she loses her smile, same way Shawn Michaels did all those years ago. And I hope she just leaves. Go to AEW. Go to NXT India. Go to Mars. I don't care. Stay off my screen. Stay off my screen. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. So I'm going to go to the chat real quickly before I actually explode here. Jamal says, ding dong, yeah. Andrew, Bianca, an all-around athlete. Sasha believes her own hype. And that's true. And the sad part is, Sasha, I truly believe Sasha Banks, the person, or Mercedes, the person, truly believes her own hype. And she's not that good. You're not you're not a Shawn Michaels who you believe your own hype, but you're actually good in the ring. You are the greatest athletes of your generation, or of all time, because that's what Shawn Michaels was or is. And he believed his own hype, and you know what? Rightfully so. When you're that talented, I would believe my own hype. Sasha's not. Yet she believes her own hype. And there's one thing, confidence is one thing, and whatever Sasha Banks has is another thing. It's a whole other thing. I don't know what she has. It's a whole other thing. Jamal says, we're now at almost 7 years of Sasha, Becky, and Charlotte being things on Raw and SmackDown. Yes, the difference is Charlotte has more than held her own. The other thing is for Becky, Becky's been away for a couple of months, and for a while was it last year or the year before? Sorry, the year before. She was hot for a while when she won the Rumble, and the whole man character before that just became too much. She did well. Heck, even Bayley got repackaged. Sasha's just been bland for years now. Completely bland. So I'm just going to have a little sip here as I read the chat. So Brian says, Sasha isn't even the best of the 4 horsewomen. No, she's not. Sasha's in the top 4 of the horsewomen, but she's not in the top 3. Reach your own conclusion. Mike, I'm actually loving this rant and agree with everything. Thank you. Jamel, real question, has she had any development as a character? Bayley, to her credit, was able to make changes to her character, same for Becky. And I agree. For a while, I even tweeted it out several months back. I was getting sick and tired of the Bayley character itself. I'm loving this whole new Bayley character that we're getting, especially when she's not on the show every week. It's good. You know, she's not overexposed. I like it. Sasha is just too much. Just way too much. So Bryan says, yep, that's exactly what I tweeted you. All right. Jamel, just like a Nemer to sneak in a diss of Shawn Michaels. Yeah, but I gave him credit later on. I gave him credit a little later on, so I'm fine with that. Broken Skull was so cringe. It was, and I'm going to talk about the Broken Skull just for literally 10 seconds. I caught it right after the Elimination Chamber. I saw 20 minutes of it. Couldn't deal with it. Turned it off. Ended up watching, ended up going on YouTube to watch Doug and Mike discuss the Chamber. Thank God, because she was extremely fake. Couldn't do it. This whole, I quit school and I was just watching old matches and studying and this and that. Well, shit, Sasha. If you studied so much, you'd know not to kill your opponents in the ring. Cringe is... I'll go with cringe just because I can't even think of anything else right now. But yes, I totally agree with Bryan. Just cringe. Extremely cringe. Jamel, Broken Skull was a rough one to even start. I felt the awkward cringe on that one from the word go. Yeah. And this whole... When she took the sip of the beer and she's like, this is so good. Like, stop. You're not fooling anyone. Yeah. So I'm gonna, that's my little rant. That's my Ramblin' Roy Sasha Banks rant for the night. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And it looks like a couple of you guys did, because some people are agreeing, so thank you. All right. Mike, so I'm just reading through real quick. So Andrew, if Steve Austin actually thinks Sasha is good and his favorite, Steve's drunk too many beers, honestly, I don't believe that. I don't think so. I just think it's Austin being a good host and kind of like, hey, yeah, I could see that, and just pushing her type of thing. So I could see that. Bryan, that's what I find so confusing that he believes that. I don't think Austin believes it. I think maybe he says it. I don't know why he says it. I hope, or maybe it's because I like Austin too much to believe that he actually believes that. Mike, when she cracked open the beer and said, hell yeah, I wish for the sweet embrace of death. Yeah, I totally agree, Mike. Totally agree, buddy. Ugh, that was rough. Corey, what's up, Corey? How are you? Just saw you in the chat, buddy. So Sasha, best days were in NXT, and she is best off as a heel, and her laugh is cringy. Her whole character is cringy. Her entire character, her whole persona is cringy. And we went from, Sasha Banks to the boss to I'm Snoop Dogg's cousin to her weird stuff on social media, on Twitter, where she teased she was leaving the company or WWE or wrestling altogether, which she probably should. Oh boy. Oh my God. Anyways. So Jamel, how do you fumble the interview with Austin? Literally everyone who's ever done that show has been good and personable, even grumpy Bret Hart. Yeah, even Bret Hart's been... Yeah, he came off pretty good on that. I'll leave it at that. You're lucky I'm not Paul. I'm not going to rant on this one, Jamel. And Bryan, man, I feel so much better knowing I'm not alone. You're not alone, Bryan. This is our Wrestleview SmackDown Sasha Banks therapy group. All right, this is it. And Jamel says, compare this one to one he did with Bayley. Bayley came off really well. She did. Bayley came off as genuine. As genuine, whereas Sasha just came off as fake, literally. So this is enough of Sasha Banks, enough of this. Let's continue with the show, because it was a good show, right? It was a pretty good show. So enough about this. Ultimately, we end up getting Bianca Belair, picking or selecting Sasha Banks as her opponent at WrestleMania. So it's not going to be Asuka. It's going to be Bianca Belair against Sasha Banks at WrestleMania. So Asuka, who knows who she's gonna get? Maybe Charlotte Flair. Who knows? That's on Mike to discuss. Mike and Victoria, watch him every Monday following Raw. Trust me, you won't regret it. And yes, coming up is Street Profits versus Sami Zayn and King Corbin. All right, another tag team match, or was this the first tag team match? No, second tag team match, right. So second tag team match of the night, Street Profits versus Sami Zayn, King Corbin. I love that backstage segment involving Corbin and Zayn, two heels, and Corbin's like, why are we tag teaming? And Zayn tells him, oh, it was my idea, we could tag team champions and conspiracy theories and the whole we could take over the division and this and that. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Corbin's response of, yeah, we could just get these camera guys off me, which was fun. It was cool. The match itself, look, I feel like the Street Profits cannot have a bad match. They can't. Ford is too talented. Angelo Dawkins is incredible for his size, like his agility, just a good guy in the ring. They complement each other very well. Zayn and Corbin, I was actually semi expecting them to actually get a win here tonight. I thought they would somehow get a win, but they ended up going with the Street Profits. I'm guessing this means we could get a Sami Zayn King Corbin feud, maybe for two heels. I don't know. I would like to see them as a tag team because it feels like they don't know what they want to do with Corbin or Zayn. Zayn just keeps losing to every guy, whereas Corbin loses to everyone not named Dominic Mysterio. So maybe them as a tag team could be interesting, but it doesn't look like they're going to go with it. They've been kind of planting the seed a little bit for a feud involving two men, so who knows? Who knows what happens? So Street Profits get the win. And it was just a fun tag team match. It really was. It really, really was. It was a cool match, fun match, and definitely felt good seeing guys that actually, are safe in the ring after Sasha Banks just completely killed me. Sorry, I know that made no sense. It's the Sasha Banks effect. All right, and then came Seth Rollins. So, Seth Rollins. Okay. If you guys have been watching this show for the past 3 weeks, this is fourth week, you'll know I'm not Seth Rollins' biggest fan. At least not the character. His in-ring ability's fine. His mic skills are fine, decent. It's not that. It's the character itself that's just I can't get behind. I cannot get behind. And probably for the first time in a long time, dare I say I enjoyed that Seth Rollins promo. Dare I say it? And most of that has to do with Cesaro. Cesaro said nothing. Showed up and I tweeted it. I'm gonna get this tweet out right now. I tweeted, I said, well, number one, Cesaro needs to tell us how he doesn't get dizzy spinning around 40 times a minute, which makes no sense, because I'll spin around my nephew 4 times like this, and I'm dizzy, I'm seeing stars. Meanwhile, this guy spins around 230, 240 pound men around for a minute, and just everything's fine. So he has to tell us a secret. That's number one. Number two, and I said I hate the Seth character, but Cesaro in that segment alone was as dominant as he has ever been as a singles competitor, despite not saying a word. And that's what you need. And Cesaro is a babyface, or at least on the surface he is, especially going up against Seth Rollins. So you have Cesaro the babyface, you have Seth Rollins just cutting this promo, like a typical Seth Rollins promo, and then Cesaro interrupts him, gets in the ring, gets in his face, doesn't say a word. Rollins hypes him up, right? Pound for pound, best guy in the business, most talented guy in the business, this and that. And it's true. It's true. And Cesaro, without saying a word, drops him, spins him, uppercut, done. With Cesaro, I love the guy. On the mic, is he the best? Not necessarily. Is he bad? No, he's not the worst, but not the best on the mic. But something like this tonight, it works, and it works very, very well. And they've been doing a solid job with Cesaro for about a month and a half now. Month and a half to 2 months. Ever since they split him up from Nakamura, and this is not a knock on Nakamura, I like Nakamura, but ever since they split those two together, Cesaro's stock, kind of like GameSpot, just went through the roof. And I'm all for Cesaro against Seth Rollins as long as Cesaro gets the win. He needs this. This would be the biggest win of his career. I know he's been tag team champion and this and that in the bar with Sheamus and Nakamura and all that stuff. This would be huge. This would be huge. And he needs this win. He absolutely needs this win. And I'm going to go to the chat right now. Corey, Mike's rants on Sasha were great. They were legendary. Andrew, Corbin and Zayn comedy team is great. It is, but not as tag team champions. Get those tag team champions on someone else. That's the one thing I'll disagree with. Montez Ford is so fun to watch, period. Corey, agree. Jamel, Seth is another one who could drive you to drink. Yes, I agree. Tonight, tolerable. So then we have Andrew. Can we have Cesaro swing Seth to outer space? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't disagree with that. Andrew, Seth, okay, wrestler, character sucks, and he sucks on the stick. He's decent promo. He's a decent promo guy. I don't think he's the worst. Well, he's far from being the best though. And Andrew, when I saw the swing live at several events, I had to close my eyes not to barf. Honestly, all kidding aside, it's difficult to pull off. He just spins and he doesn't get dizzy. He just takes him a second and he just readjusts. I don't know how he does it. Great balance. And Corey, I even remember when he swung the Great Khali. Oh my. Yeah. They could do a lot with Cesaro, and it feels like they finally will. It feels like they finally will, and hopefully they do. Hopefully they definitely do. And that brings us to our main event of the evening. Sorry, that's a poor Michael Buffer impersonation. Daniel Bryan versus Jay Uso. If Bryan wins, he faces Roman Reigns at Fastlane for the WWE Universal Championship. So, one thing I was not expecting was this finish. I was not expecting a double countout, I'll be honest. I expected a couple of things. I expected Edge to maybe screw Daniel Bryan out of a win. I expected maybe Roman Reigns to interfere. I even expected Jey Uso to get disqualified. I did not expect a double countout. In retrospect, maybe I could have. Or maybe I should have. We could have this feud develop between Jay and Bryan. Keep it going. Have a tag team match, right? We mentioned this at the start of the show. A 2-on-2 match or a 6-man tag at Fastlane if Christian comes back and Jimmy Uso's back. Have a 3-on-3. And then you could have Daniel Bryan and Jey Uso at WrestleMania. You could have that. My question is, are we going to have that? And what's going to happen at Fastlane? And these are, in my opinion, these are good questions to ask because nothing is very clear right now. Granted, I'm pretty sure and I'm pretty certain we're going to get Edge versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That's not the issue. But it's how are we going to get there? What are they going to do until we get there? And this is the fun part about WrestleMania season, right? So you could book a lot of stuff in your head, and from one minute to another, things will change. From one show to another, everything's going to change, right? My prediction now is we're going to get tag team match, as they kind of mentioned, right? We're going to get Edge and Daniel Bryan at Fastlane up against Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. For now, that's my prediction. And then we get Roman Edge at Mania and Jay and Bryan at Mania. But another part of me thinks we might actually get Daniel Bryan in the WrestleMania main event. And we get a triple threat between Bryan, Edge, and Roman Reigns. That way, you could have Edge pin Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns comes off, looking decent because he didn't get the pin. Or you might actually just get Edge versus Roman. Who knows? This is the fun part, and this is something I'm actually enjoying. Because it's not clear. They could do a lot of stuff. They could definitely do a lot of stuff. I'm going to go in the chat, see what you guys think. How would you guys book this? What would you do? What would you guys do? Let me know. So Andrew says, well, Bryan pissed Edge off, so no L for Bryan. And that's something else. Which I didn't mention in my tweet, is that, out came Roman Reigns, beat up Daniel Bryan. Edge, ever the opportunist, stays back. Doesn't come out and help. And this is part of why I think we might get Daniel Bryan involved and get it as a triple threat at WrestleMania, because Bryan has a feud right now with Roman Reigns and Edge simultaneously going on at the same time. So they have some options there. Andrew, we have a future match brewing for the future Edge versus Bryan after Mania. That's a possibility as well. They could hold off the triple threat and have Edge versus Bryan after WrestleMania. That is a possibility, yes. Jamel, if you told me that Daniel Bryan versus Jay Uso could be a Mania match a year ago, I'd have thought you were insane. Yeah. Totally agree. And they've done a good job with Jay. And to his credit, he stepped up and he's done well. He's done well. And sometimes it just goes to show you that, you know, if you take the right guy, give him a right character, he could do well, right? Cesaro, for the longest time, people have been clamoring, let's do something with Cesaro, push him. Now it finally looks like they are, and he's succeeding. Jay Uso, just like Jamel said, Jay Uso, if you'd have told me a year ago Jay Uso would be in one main event throughout the entire year, I'd have said you're nuts. He's main evented 3, 4, 5 shows in the past 6 months, if not more. It's insane. They've done very well with him. Very, very well with him. Andrew did not like that Dusty finish either. Yeah, I didn't like it. I wasn't the biggest fan. But depending on what they do moving forward, it could be decent. Quentin says triple threat. So Quentin thinks we're getting, or he agrees with me anyways, he thinks we're getting a triple threat match at WrestleMania. I could see that happening. I could very well see that happening. Very, very well see that happening. Again, it's WrestleMania season. It's fun. We get to book it in our heads, and it's cool. I enjoy this part. Yeah, I think every wrestling fan enjoys this part of the year, which is WrestleMania season. All right, and then so we got the double count out, and here's what I wrote. So here's my thoughts. I said a double count out to end Bryan versus Jay, which was unexpected. No appearance by Edge at the end too. I could see them dragging this Bryan and Jay feud into WrestleMania. So that was my thoughts on the main event. Thoughts on the show was lots of wrestling on SmackDown tonight, which was great. Some storylines advancing. So Bianca and Sasha, right? That's confirmed for WrestleMania. Apollo Shinsuke and Big E as well. That's something else that's going on. So the Intercontinental title scene is shaping up to be very, very interesting come Fastlane and WrestleMania. Cesaro and Seth, that's very interesting too, as was the main event. So lots of good stuff on the show for everyone to enjoy. And I truly think if you love tag team matches, we got a couple of tag team matches. If you love the women's division, well, we got something confirmed for WrestleMania. Singles matches, Cesaro, everything. We really got a lot of stuff on the show tonight, which is why I gave the show a thumbs up. And let's see what the viewers think and what everyone thinks. So 80.9% gave this show a thumbs up. Wow, what's wrong with the 19.1% of you? Who hurt you? And then if we're just going to take a look at the suite. So Cesaro looking good, is as perfect as it can be. I want the world for that guy, and Roman's been killing it like always. Yes, he has. So almost 81% gave this show a thumbs up. We're going to go to the chat. Here we go. What do you guys think? So Andrew, show was good, always good. It's 2 hours, and this show thumbs up. Thank you, Andrew. What do you guys think? Andrew gave it a thumbs up. I gave it a thumbs up. Quentin, Jamel, what do you guys think? Mashoon, thumbs up. Excellent. Fully agree with you guys. It was just a fun show. Just a very, very fun show. Like Andrew said, it's 2 hours. It's very difficult to mess up. It was very good. Quentin, SmackDown, 4 thumbs. Could have been 5, but Sasha stuffed it up. I agree. I'll accept that. No problem. No arguments on my end, Quentin. I'll agree with that. Sasha kind of left a stain on the show. But in general, I thought it was very, very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. So that was it. And it's time to bring this one home. All right? As everyone says. For some reason, everyone always says, all right, Roy, bring it home at the end of every show. Jamel, thumbs up. Excellent, Quentin. SmackDown Post Show, 11 thumbs up. Thank you, Quentin. It would not be 11 thumbs up if it weren't for you guys. You guys make this show. You guys make every show, honestly. It'd be nothing without you guys. It's very fun. I enjoy doing this. As I mentioned last week, since we started doing this with Mike, we're going to have some co-hosts on as well as soon as we figure out the audio problems. I know we had some technical difficulties last week. This week, everything is very smooth sailing. So very happy about that. Thank you guys for joining me. My name is Roy Nemer. I had a fantastic, in my opinion, rant on Sasha Banks. If you guys missed it, go back, rewind on YouTube. You'll be able to find it on this video. So that's it. My name is Roy Nemer. I'm the Wrestleview.com SmackDown recapper. And it's been fun. This is the Wrestleview SmackDown Post Show number 4. We're going to be at number 5 next week. We'll be back. Thank you, everyone. Make sure to like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you guys are watching live, thank you for everyone. Thank you for everyone in the chat. If you guys are watching us on playback on YouTube, again, also very, very much appreciated. Thank you very much. And that is it. My name is Roy Nemer. Take care. Be safe. And remember, SmackDown every Friday night. It's a good show. It's only 2 hours. And have a good night, everyone. Have a good one. Bye, guys.